Okay, so let's have a quick look at the agenda then. In today's session, we firstly welcome you, our participants, and again, thanks for giving up your morning to attend this webinar. We really hope you'll get lots of value for your trade union. I'll begin the session in a moment with some opening remarks. Today, we're joined by 4 very carefully selected partners with extensive expertise and technology platforms designed exclusively for the sector. First up, we're joined at 9:45 by Blue Light with their session entitled Empower Your Trade Union with Dynamics 365, a single view to strengthen member engagement. At 10:30, Curve Digital join with their session entitled Break Free from Siloed Data and Future-Proof Your Union with Microsoft Dynamics and AI. At 11:15, we're going to turn away briefly from Dynamics towards the IMIS for Unions platform with Ifinity, who will give you an introduction to the platform designed to empower unions with the tools they need. This platform is doing incredibly well in Australasia and Canada, so really looking forward to seeing that. And then in our final partner session at 12, we're joined by Smart Impact with their session entitled Discover More About Dynamics 365, the CRM platform for today's unions. We appreciate that this session is a full one. We won't be pausing for breaks so we can keep to time. So please do feel free to take any comfort breaks as you need them, of course. If you have any questions today for me or any of our presenters, you can use the Q&A feature, which is in the top ribbon of Teams. Please feel free to drop your questions in there and we will pick them up if time permits at the end of the session. And if not, we'll provide responses to all questions raised today in the delegate follow-up pack that will come out in the next few days. We have disabled the chat feature, so as I say, pop any questions that you have into the Q&A. Okay, so let's begin then with a look at the key challenges facing the trade union sector in the UK. In fact, there are numerous interlinked challenges impacting unions' sustainability and relevance. And foremost among these, of course, in the news again today are economic pressures, exacerbated by raising inflation that's been with us since 2021, and that's caused a substantial reduction in disposable income for us as individuals and also for businesses. Additionally, trade unions are encountering difficulties demonstrating tangible value to members, which of course makes it harder to justify those membership fees. Clearly articulating a return on investment remains a pervasive issue, leading to hesitancy amongst potential members and contributing overall to consistently high member attrition rates across many unions following the increases in membership that we saw during COVID. Rising operational and technological costs further challenge unions. And to maintain relevance, unions do need to invest in digital transformation, such as membership engagement systems, online learning platforms, virtual events infrastructure, and so on. But for many smaller unions, these investments are often prohibitively expensive, restricting their ability to innovate. As we all know, the proposed Employment Rights Bill in 2025 by the new Labour government introduces secure electronic voting for union ballots, which, whilst maybe brilliant news, does underscore the technological challenges facing unions. And whilst electronic voting promises cost reductions and improved participation by members, its successful implementation does require unions to have robust technological infrastructures in place. The lack of adequate IT capabilities or digital readiness could prevent unions from capitalising on these legislative changes, potentially broadening that gap between unions that can and those that cannot afford to modernise. Moreover, increased scrutiny and compliance requirements around data protection, notably GDPR and cybersecurity, adds further overheads and considerations. So ensuring secure, compliant IT infrastructure significantly increases operational expenditure and complexity. And that, of course, can potentially dampen net income growth and divert funds away from other strategic priorities that unions may have. Lastly, those evolving and shifting member demographics and preferences necessitate that unions rapidly adapt to remain relevant and attractive to younger audiences, those who prioritise flexibility, digital first, on-demand services, those traditional in-person networking events, historically significant sources of income and member engagement for some unions, can now hold less appeal amongst younger audiences, and demand at the same time development of compelling digital or hybrid alternatives. So put all that together, UK trade unions must navigate economic pressures, clearly communicate value, adapt technologically to meet evolving member expectations, and respond strategically to heightened competition to secure their future relevance. So a very complex picture facing the sector. So now a few brief observations about tech in the trade union sector. The consolidation of key tech providers that began in 2018 has undoubtedly significantly reduced both tech expertise in and around trade union technology, but also competition in the sector has been significantly reduced. Many unions are facing obsolescence of their current technology platforms, and there are no definitive timescales, certainly that we're aware of, as to when those obsolescence will actually take place. That leads to enormous amounts of uncertainty. And whilst in that state, many unions are seeing poor customer service from some of the key tech providers in the sector, so they're unable to or unwilling to meet those needs or expectations that you as customers have every right to expect. That leaves many unions not well positioned to take advantage of technological advancements to drive efficiency gains that are so important when income is challenged, including, of course, AI, which we'll touch on a bit more later on. If we put that together with many of us believe that we're entering a stage of technological advancement that is arguably unprecedented in its speed and scale, and that's predominantly down to the exponential growth of AI, which is advancing at an astonishing rate. Unlike past tech revolutions like the internet or electricity, AI is improving exponentially, meaning that each improvement builds upon the last much faster. So it's starting to affect not just physical labour like robotics did, but also cognitive tasks like writing, coding, research, and even decision making. Speed of adoption is accelerating. It took decades for electricity and telephones to reach mass adoption, years for the internet, but just months for AI tools like ChatGPT to reach 100 million users. Data abundance is a key factor. The world now generates an unimaginable amount of data every day, which in turn feeds those machine learning models. That accelerates research and enables technologies like predictive analytics and personalised services to flourish, given, of course, the right infrastructure. And then finally, that shift in human technology relationship, we're transitioning from technology being a tool that we use to it becoming something that can collaborate with us, anticipate our needs, make decisions, and potentially improve or even ultimately replace aspects of human cognition. And we've seen this quite a lot in healthcare recently, with AI being used to examine scan results, for example. And that blurs the line between user and technology in a way that we've never seen before. In short, we're entering a phase where the rate of change itself is changing and accelerating. It's not just about new inventions, but about a fundamental transformation in how we live, work, and think. And so as those shifts gain traction and pace, increasingly member expectations will adapt and rise alongside those, and many unions are unable to meet those rising expectations due to poor systems and data. So this context means that probably all trade unions, to a larger or a smaller extent, will need to revisit their technology strategy in the near term. So in summary then, given all those challenges and of course opportunities, one might think there would be an influx of trade unions moving onto new technology platforms. However, many unions may demonstrate reluctance towards investing in emerging technologies. And those are down to several reasons. Firstly, cost and financial constraints, probably the most significant barrier. Unions rely predominantly on membership subscriptions as primary source of income. And so those initial perceived high outlays, perceived or realistic in some cases, and ongoing maintenance expenses can be prohibitive. Cultural resistance and adherence to tradition can impede also the adoption of new technologies. Lack of in-house expertise can also influence hesitation, with many unions not possessing necessarily all of the skills and experience that's needed to effectively adopt new technologies. Data privacy and security remains a concern. I think that's always been a concern, but it's probably amplified. And trade unions naturally will want to prioritise immediate tangible member services and campaign activities above internal operational improvements. And then finally, excuse me, the absence of a clear strategic vision or roadmap around technology investment can really hinder that long-term perspective. So without that strategic roadmap, unions may face focusing narrowly on immediate needs or short-term gains. Addressing these multifaceted concerns requires clear communication, targeted skills training, strategic planning, and a robust approach to security overall.